Hey there, you're watching the Daily Dispatch. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to do a little science experiment. I recently acquired the YETI Hopper 2 30, and it retails for the astronomical price tag of $350. Now they say it's built like a tank, and I kind of believe it after having it for a couple months. I mean, this thing seems fairly indestructible, but I don't plan on chunking it off any cliffs. I don't plan on getting it run over by an SUV or throwing it in a dryer full of barbecue sauce and seeing what happens. What I am planning on doing with it is keeping some beverages cold. So I want to know how well it does that. So what we're going to do today is put it up against another highly rated competitor. This is an AO cooler, canvas-sided cooler. This is the 24-pack. But it only retails for $70. It's still a very nice, expensive, soft-sided cooler. This one has 3/4 of an inch of closed cell foam insulation. This one has 1.5 inches of a rubber foam. They call it like the Arctic Cool insulation or something. What we're going to do, the way we're going to conduct this test is I'm going to put 6 beverages in each one, 1 10-pound bag of ice in each on top of those beverages, stick them in the garage where it's predicted to be, I think, in the low 90s over the next couple days, and see what happens. Every night at this time, we're going to take them out for about 24 hours, and we're going to pour them into a glass, take the temperature of each one. First beer that gets to 50 degrees loses. So let's get started. I did pre-cool both of these with ice overnight, so they should be cool already on the inside. Let me show you what they look like, just for reference. You know, it's 3/4 of the way full. The YETI is closer to half full. Yeah, the YETI's definitely bigger than the AO. It's way bigger than I thought. But you know what? Who cares? Like I said, for 5 times the price, it better be able to take on the challenge. But I just put the coolers in the garage, and number one, it's still 91 degrees outside, so it's going to be a tougher test than I imagined. And number two, I was actually curious. I wanted to get a baseline of what, well, really a cold beer actually is. So what are we shooting against? Okay, 42.4 degrees. Well, it already goes up instantaneously. So 42.4 degrees is what we're shooting against. Okay, so we're at the end of day one. The coolers are in the garage. It is 92 degrees out here. It was 91 when I put them 93. It was 92 when I put them in this last night. So I assume it's been sitting in the low 90s to upper 80s the entire time they've been out here, about 24 hours. Okay, so we're outside now. I'm going to open up the coolers and let's see how much ice is left in each one, just sort of relatively speaking on a, a visual basis. Let's just see what we're looking at. All right, AO cooler first. I would say, I mean, you couldn't even see the cans of beer last night. That's probably half ice, half water right now. That is what I would say. Actually, that's not true. It's like mostly water and a little bit of ice. Okay, now let's try the YETI. About the same, I would say. Maybe a little bit more ice, but we had way more volume in here, so that's actually a pretty decent result, I think. All right, let's get the beers out and see how cold they are. Remember, we're shooting against a bogey 42.4 from out of the fridge. All right, it feels very, very cold. 35.7 after a day. Considerable improvement over my little bar fridge. All right, now let's check the YETI. Okay, this one also feels very cold. It makes sense. I suspect now they're probably going to be pretty close, given that they're both sitting in a pool of ice water currently. 34.8, 34.7, so a little cooler. Let's make sure we're looking at here. 35.9 this time. So yeah, we're looking at, I would say, at least a degree cooler. So even though they're both sitting in a puddle of ice water, the YETI is a degree cooler. I don't know, but what that tells me is, if you're mostly going to go out fishing for a day or, hunting or what, if you're just going to be out for a day, then save the money. Get the $60, 35-degree beers. Pretty darn cold. All right, I'm going to put them back in the garage. We'll check in tomorrow. Okay, now it's day 2. Temps are about the same. It's still 90 degrees in my garage. Same story. We're going to check the ice in the cooler, starting with the AO, and then check the temperatures of the beer. Now, they both sound to me like they're out of ice, so let's find out. Oh, yeah. The AO is nothing but water. I mean, it's water in there. It's the only thing in there at all. Water and beer. Let's get that zipped up and check the YETI. Does the YETI have any ice? No. No ice in the YETI either. They're both out. Okay. Well, that's not promising at all. But let's see how hot the coolers actually got inside. Let's check the temperatures of the beers now. All right, now let's get started. Let's measure the temperatures of the beers. We're going to do the AO here, the YETI here. Remember, we're shooting against a 42.4 out of the fridge, a 35.7 out of the AO yesterday, and 34.7 degrees out of the YETI yesterday. So let's see where we stand. In the hand, it still feels chilled, but not as chilled as yesterday. 61. Wow. Not good. All right, 59.7 degrees. Not great. So from 35.7 yesterday to just under 60 degrees today. Not good. Could not keep food in those conditions. Let's see if the YETI performed any better. Okay, word to the very new YouTubers out there. Check your memory cards before you get started. Okay, so now after a quick break, let's see what the YETI does. 48 degrees. Wow. Huge difference. Huge difference. Huh. What does that mean? So after one day, so they started out at 42.4. After one day, the AO rose to 34, actually lowered to 35.7, just covered in ice, and the YETI went down to 34.7. So a small win for the YETI, but almost equivalent after one day in a very hot environment. After 2 days, though, the ice completely melted in both, and the AO rose to 60 degrees, or just under 60 degrees, and the YETI still at a relatively cool 48 degrees. So where does this leave us? I mean, I think what everyone wants to know is, should you spend the $350 on the YETI? And I think like most things in life, it just depends on both your budget and your use case. I think if your primary thing is to just go, if you want a cooler to take 6, 12, 24 beers or whatever out for the day, then I think get whichever one you want. Get the AO, get the Arctic, get whatever. I mean, they're both doing, as we saw in this test, they both do a pretty good job of keeping them both super cold. But if you're going out for 2 days, 3 days, now obviously we could have refilled ice and that sort of thing, but if you just need to pack a cooler and be gone for 2 or 3 days and you're going to be wanting to keep food in there, I think the YETI showed its mettle today. I mean, it did not have nearly the amount of ice that you could have put in there, and it still was holding under 50 degrees. There's one other reason why I think I would recommend the YETI over some of its competitors, and let me demonstrate. When I got the AO, I was shaking it to see, look at that, look at that. All I was doing was shaking it to see how much ice was left in there, and water got all over my side. They say this is leak proof, but they clearly mean out of the canvas, not the zipper. So the YETI is also full of the same amount of water as we saw. You can squeeze on it. Nothing. When they say waterproof, they genuinely mean waterproof. And like I said, this thing is also bulletproof. I really do believe it. So if you want a super tough cooler that you can keep food in for 2, 3, probably even 4 days, if you pack it down, I'd pick the YETI. But if you're going to be just mainly keeping drinks cold for a day or two, I would go like something, or save the money, go something like the AO cooler or the Arctic, and just buy some more drinks. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the YETI Hopper 2 in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, go have some fun outside. See you soon.